I'm in Photoshop, but now I want to go into Lightroom. So once you're in any Adobe product, if you hover over the four squares, the drop-down menu will show up and you can click on anything here. And we want to be in Lightroom Classic. And we want to choose a different catalog and then X out of that. Come on. And then I guess do it again. Just, I have no idea. I swear I've done it 3 different ways and it's worked. All right, so here we are in Lightroom. Again, I'm going to go click on the overlapping X's to go into full screen mode. So if you remember, we have to be in Library to import our image. And because we're working in the cloud, it doesn't save anything that you've been working on. So we're going to import. And to select a source, you'll go to, if you go to other source, you might be able to, there are a couple things you might have to do. You can go to this PC and then Google Drive, My Drive, and then find an image that way. Or what I've done, what I've found is the best way is here under source, local disk, users, photon user, I don't know what that means, my files, Google Drive, my drive. All of those, because I've accessed this before, it's popped up for me. So the first time you use Lightroom, it might take a while for these to show up. But once you use it a couple of times, this will auto-generate for you. So I'm going to come down here to my practice images again. And I don't want to import all of them. I just want to import the photograph that I would like to edit. All right. And I'm going to, click on the castle and I'm going to import it. And up here is, you'll see this is the, well, it went away, but there was a little bar and it shows you that it's working. All right, so you can see here you've got your image that you're going to be working on. Here's your histogram. You can see what the camera was set at when you took the photograph. Okay, metadata, any metadata. But we want to develop the image. And you can crop if you'd like. You can do some spot removal here if you see of any spots that there are here. And then we are going to talk about adjustment brushes. I need to play around with that just to see how it works with this app stream. We will be working with those. But for now, we're going to just work our way from top to bottom, right? We want to play with the temperature, tint. Remember, if you do something and you don't necessarily like it, you just double click. It's supposed to work. And it'll take you back to 0. Okay, so you noticed it took me a couple of times. This is not perfect. It's not the same as being on your PC, so you just have to be a little patient. Exposure, contrast, highlights. I want to make sure that I've got I can add some details in the sky here. I can maybe open up the shadows a little bit here. Maybe bring down the white slider, bring down the black slider, but make sure to keep details in both the whites and the blacks. Texture. Okay, so be careful because remember that can make it look sort of soft focus. Um, Texture and clarity. I like the clarity slider. Kind of makes it look a little crunchy. Dehaze, that can look make it look kind of cool, especially on a like super foggy days like we've been having. Vibrance and saturation. Um, Work your way down, highlights, lights, darks, etc. And then of course here you can adjust all of the colors individually as far as the hue, the color itself, the saturation, how much of the color, and then the luminance, sort of how bright the color is. All right. And then sharpening, it doesn't fix something that's not blurry, so please make sure you're checking your focus. It's going to help just a little bit. It gives more pixels. Okay. Noise reduction tends to make it a little bit kind of blurs the pixels. Lens correction I never use, and so I don't know that much about it. So if you want to look into that, you're welcome to. By the way, if you are done with one of these, you can click on the little triangle and it will collapse that if you want. Transform, we talked about that before, and that is right, trying to make it straighter. And then if you have those white edges on the sides and you don't like it, you can click constrain crop. Effects. So that's going to give you, do you remember vignetting, light or dark, which can be nice for portraits, grain, and then you're done basically. And um, we've got presets over here if you want to mess around with that. Your navigator, if you've zoomed in, it sort of shows you where in the photograph you are. And then remember, Lightroom saves every single step that you've done. So if you've gotten to a point you're like, oh my God, what did I do? You can come back here and start again. All right. Um, so that's the basics. There's so much more to Lightroom, and I will be 100% honest with you. I've been using it for a few years, and that is mainly what I do, as well as using the adjustment brushes. We are going to be using print and book a little bit later on. So once you've developed your photograph and you have it exactly the way you like it, then you can go to File. This is all just a review, hopefully. Export. Export to your hard drive. I don't think it really matters because I don't think it's going to export to your desktop. You can try clicking on export to the same folder as original. I'm not sure how this is going to work as far as because it's a different system, but what I always do is after export, this is all the way at the bottom. Oh, wait, there's something I forgot to tell you here. Change the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. Make sure it says JPEG. Include all metadata. And then after exporting, open in Photoshop. And now just press export, and then your image will open, and then you can do all this stuff that we talked about in the video of the basics of using Photoshop. Then you can turn in your photograph that way. Good luck.